as I'm sure you've all heard, this has basically been my entire Twitter feed. This actually happened, I think, a month ago. And this video's been floating around, but for whatever reason, it just kind of coalesced. I think the footage only came out a few days ago on September the 5th. And I think that's why it kind of repopulated. I think this happened in like late July or something. So this isn't, the actual story is a little older than I think what most people think it is. Breaking, newly released video shows the completely unprovoked attack of a Ukrainian war refugee. I practiced her name before stream and then all of it just went out the window. Iryna Zarutska by DeCarlos Brown Jr. in Charlotte, North Carolina. She was safer in a literal war. So she escapes war, makes her way to the US. This is her entering a subway, I'm assuming. Maybe a metro if you're French or from Atlanta. And then you can see sitting behind her, some black guy pulls out a pocket knife. I didn't edit this. This is how the video came. I know there's another video. We'll get to that later. This is the original video that was released a few days ago. So everyone just assumes she was stabbed. She was stabbed. That is the story. Stabs her in the neck 3 times. As you can see, trail of blood. I don't know if he cut himself because there is quite a bit of blood dripping off of him. That can't be just the knife. These people don't seem to have noticed. So I don't think they're hateable. He just now notices that there's blood coming from that guy. So he takes his shirt off because his hand does seem to be bleeding. And it's kind of hard to hear. Because he keeps repeating, I just stabbed this white girl. Racially motivated attack, as I'm sure you all know. And initially, I think it's easy to pin this, because this guy is, we'll get to that in a second, but spoilers, he's schizophrenic. And I think it's easier to pin this on schizophrenia and frame it as that over like a race issue. There is a very serious issue with, violence coming out of the black community, especially like the ghetto community. And it's not all black people. You know, it's the old trope that 13% of the population are committing 52% of all violent crimes per capita, which just seems to be hard for some people to understand. But that is true. But when you think about it, it's only males that are committing these crimes. So that 13% is cut in half, is 6.5 now, right? And then it's only males in a certain age range, like 15 to 25, because after that, a lot of them are either in prison for violent crimes or fucking dead, right? From violent crimes, gang shit. So it's really like 2% of the population, let's say 1 or 2% of the population are committing 52% per capita of the violent crimes. So obviously, very real issue. So that's the video. I already forgot her name. God damn it. I told myself I wasn't going to do this. I have to give respect to Iryna Zarutska. So who is she? She's 23 years old, a young Ukrainian refugee, escaped the Ukrainian war with Russia. Which it's weird that I didn't see anyone on the left make that argument that like, oh, now you care about immigrants? I thought you wanted to get rid of immigrants. I thought that was actually going to be a plan of attack. So good on the left for not bringing that up because that is scummy. So there's no secret that Iryna is a very pretty white girl. And that plays a huge role into this. Obviously, there's pretty privilege. If she wasn't this beautiful young white woman, people probably wouldn't care as much. It would still be a thing because there's a whole racial component to it. But the fact that has like model good looks, this makes it a story with a lot more legs to it. Okay, let's take a look into who is her attacker. So her attacker is a homeless man named DeCarlos Brown Jr. 34, has been charged with fatally stabbing Iryna Zarutska, who recently fled her war-torn home for a safer life in the US at a train station in Charlotte on Friday. Brown is a serial criminal who has spent most of his adult life in and out of jail. His rap sheet goes back to 2011 and includes felony larceny, robbery with a dangerous weapon, and communicating threats, according to court records obtained by the Post. He even served 5 years in prison for armed robbery, only to be arrested for assaulting his sister just months after he was released in September of 2020. The February 2021 attack left his sibling with minor injuries, according to a police report obtained by the outlet. The Menace's most recent arrest before he allegedly knifed Zarutska was in January, so January of this year, not too long ago, when police conducted a welfare check on him, and he asked them to investigate a, quote, man-made material inside of his body that was controlling his actions, according to an affidavit obtained by the Charlotte Observer. Officers then advised Brown he was suffering a medical issue and there was nothing more that they could do to help him. Their response made him upset, leading to a 911 call. He was then arrested for abusing the 911 system, according to the Observer. The disturbed felon allegedly ambushed Zarutska with a knife at the East-West Boulevard light rail station in South End just before 10 p.m. The young blonde beauty suffered multiple stab wounds, blah, blah, blah. Zarutska recently arrived in the U.S., seeking safety from the war and hoping for a new beginning, according to her GoFundMe page set up from the young woman's aunts and other family members during their heartbreaking time. It's a little blurry, but here's just a little peek-a-rooney into this guy's life. This is him being arrested 14 times. This is 14 mugshots. This is the individual we're dealing with. Someone who clearly is schizophrenic and has some sort of mental issues, attacked his sister, thinks he has microchips in his brain that are controlling him, and is in and out of the prison system. So a lot of people then, if you guys remember this from a couple years ago, it was getting juxtaposed with Daniel Penny. On the left, you see guy stabby stab, and on the right, if you guys remember, what was his name? Jordan Neely. If you guys remember, Jordan Neely was a belligerent, schizophrenic Michael Jackson impersonator, okay, who was attacking people on the train. Daniel Penny, American hero, decided to, and a former veteran, I believe he was in the Marines, put him in a chokehold to incapacitate him, choked him out, put him in the recovery position, which if you don't know is on your side. So still trying to save his life even after he put him to sleep. But he ended up dying probably because he was having like a heart attack from fucking a schizophrenic drug overdose or whatever the fuck. So Daniel Penny was completely demonized by the mainstream media. If you guys are curious, I actually managed to find the original video, which also seems to mostly have been scrubbed off the internet. It's very hard to find. I found this clip that has like 2,000 views from a news organization, and it's not the OG video. They're talking over it. Things are blurred. It's I couldn't find the original video.
The man seen in video putting a homeless man in a fatal chokehold on a New York City train has been...
You see how they're framing it? A poor homeless man is getting choked out on a train. We all know how homeless people act on trains, white or black.
Manslaughter nearly 2 weeks after the encounter. Daniel Penny, a Marine veteran, is out on $100,000 bond after an arraignment this morning. He did not enter a plea. Prosecutors say they are seeking a grand jury indictment. His lawyers say Penny stepped in to protect himself and other passengers from Jordan Neely, who they say was aggressively threatening passengers. Penny never intended to harm him.
Right. So he was attacking women on the train. Daniel Penny, American hero, steps in, chokes this guy's out, not with the intent to kill him, but to incapacitate him. The guy ends up dying probably because he was having heart palpitations from the amount of fentanyl he was on. Ends up dying. The video whatever. The video gives much better context, but I really couldn't find the original. It's fucked up. People are just scrubbing. It's crazy how you could just make things disappear on the internet and then, no one bothered to look for it in a couple of years and now it's just gone. If you're wondering, if you want to update, he was actually acquitted late last year, December of last year. He's acquitted of all charges. He's out free. But it really looked like the Biden DOJ, whatever 3-letter agency locks people up. The CIA, the FBI, they were after him. They wanted to lock him down. He got out. That's all you need to know. That was like a major component why this became so popular. And it's a major component why the whole Daniel Penny thing and people were making that comparison, that juxtaposition, because everybody jumped on the Daniel Penny story and immediately painted Daniel Penny as a murderer. Everyone did. NBC, CNN. And immediately, Jordan Neely, the Michael Jackson impersonator, got the George Floyd treatment, right? He was this saint, homeless man, wasn't harming a soul, loves to be Michael Jackson. Don't you guys like Michael Jackson songs? And then you see the video, which I showed you a little bit of. It's the context is way worse when you see the whole thing. When you see the video and you're like, oh yeah, that guy was fucking out of his mind and going to injure someone. Thank God the American hero Daniel Penny stepped in. And that was pretty much it was a moment of disconnect between, you know, the audience and the media. And to prove that this isn't like a now issue, this has been going on for a while. This is a police chief talking about this in 2023, the DC police chief complaining about what I was just talking about.
What we got to do, if we really want to see homicides go down, is keep bad guys with guns in jail, because when they're in jail, they can't be in community shooting people. So when people talk about what we're going to do different or what we should do different, what we need to do different, that's the thing that we need to do different. We need to keep violent people in jail. Right now, the average homicide suspect has been arrested 11 times prior to them committing a homicide. That is a problem. That is a problem.
The average, what do you say? Let's rewind that.
The average homicide suspect has been arrested 11 times prior to them committing a homicide.
The average homicide suspect has committed 11 crimes prior to that homicide. Anyone that has any like basic pattern recognition can immediately realize, oh yeah, we need to start locking people up more. We can't just let people out of jail. It's not working. This was the chart I was looking at before. Obviously, there's a much higher percentage of black on white crime compared to any other violent crime incidents. It's just statistically true. But I mean, like, if we were to add black on black crime to this chart, it would be fucking everything else would be tiny size. So who is the judge that let this individual off? You might be asking yourself. Well, breaking, it's been revealed that the same judge who last released DeCarlos Brown Jr., Magistrate Judge Teresa Stokes, is also the director of operations at a treatment facility in Charlotte. Is it starting to make sense? So Teresa Stokes, Magistrate Judge, who let DeCarlos off scot-free without putting him in jail for his prior arrests, at least the last one, she runs Secondhand Chance Services. We are a mental health and addiction clinic in Charlotte, North Carolina, offering peer support services, therapy, substance abuse treatment, dual diagnosis care, telehealth services, and court-ordered evaluations. We're committed to helping individuals and families. Seems like there might be a conflict of interest here. Why put him in jail? Why not put him in my mental health facility that has one follower? This guy writes, she also hasn't passed the bar in North Carolina, is not licensed to practice law in North Carolina or Michigan, her home state, ran a failed wings business that ran drag shows, and still co-owner of another treatment facility in Michigan. This is a flyer for an event she was throwing for, I guess, Independence Day at her location, Wing Heaven on MLK Boulevard. Jokes write themselves. There's an 8 p.m. drag show. Fireworks will follow. And this is from her LinkedIn. So magistrate, state of North Carolina. That's up until present, sort of. She's still the co-owner / director of Pinnacle Recovery Services. That's what we saw over here. That's Second Chance. Oh, this is the one in Michigan. So she has another one of these facilities in Michigan. This actually, because there's a spelling mistake here. So I don't know how true this is. State of North Carolina. So whatever. Co-owner of Wing Heaven Sports Haven. Terrible name for a sports bar. It's a sober sports bar too. Crazy. And then Laura Loomer, but she did this great report that says, exclusive, Teresa Stokes, the DEI appointed magistrate judge who isn't even admitted to the North Carolina bar and released DeCarlos Brown Jr. before he brutally murdered Ukrainian refugee Iryna Zarutska, is married to a woman. Ooh, the plot thickens. She's a lesbian, but not just any lesbian. Teresa Ann Stokes and Ariana Rosalind Ballard applied for a marriage license in Ingham County, Michigan, in April of 2019. Teresa and Ariana are a married couple that apparently enjoy working together in 2021. They were working together at their halfway house fried chicken joint. So it was a halfway house / fried chicken joint. Crazy combination called Wing Heaven Sports Haven. Terrible name still. In Lansing, Michigan. And they are both directors of Pinnacle Recovery Group, a nonprofit corporation in Lansing, Michigan. Since the married lesbian couple relocated to North Carolina, Teresa Stokes was appointed as a Mecklenburg County magistrate, and her wife, Ariana Ballard, is a, quote, healthcare provider affiliated with Charlotte, North Carolina, mental health and addiction clinic that specializes in court-ordered evaluations. So what's being implied here, if you're reading between the lines, that Teresa, instead of jailing this person, decided to send DeCarlos to her wife, Ballard, to the healthcare, whatever the thing that she specializes in, allegedly. It's worth mentioning that Charlotte, North Carolina is located in Mecklenburg County within the same jurisdiction that her magistrate wife presides over. So conflict of interest here. This extreme connection deserves further scrutiny. Did they coordinate this in their respective professions? So that's a fair and valid question. Perhaps there should be an investigation into these mental health and addiction court evaluations overseen by Teresa Stokes' wife. How convenient for her wife that she is married to a magistrate judge with a soft spot for violent criminals and drug addicts. Very alarming receipts. So here are some receipts. I'll just show these on screen. I have to shit so bad. So then Eric Doherty, who I've just recently started following. He's a good journalist. You should follow him. He reported, holy crap, it's been confirmed that left-wing NGO MacArthur Foundation gave $3.3 million to Mecklenburg County, covering Charlotte, to reduce the jail population, which would coincide with Laura Loomer's report or investigation into Teresa letting him go to put him in a mental health facility, covering Charlotte to reduce the jail population in favor of, quote, racial equity, less black people, and Iryna Zarutska murderer was released over a dozen times before he killed her. It runs deeper than just evil or incompetence. Democrat judges and prosecutors. There's dark money enforcing this. In 2020, Mecklenburg County was awarded its second grant in the amount of $1 million from MacArthur Foundation as part of the Safety and Justice Challenge to continue supporting the county's efforts to develop and implement strategies capable of positively impacting the main drivers of the local jail population. In 2022, the county was awarded an additional $350,000 to ensure recent reforms were sustainable. This brings the total investment in Mecklenburg County by the MacArthur Foundation to $3.3 million. To continue safely reducing the jail population, the county plans to implement strategies aimed at addressing system inefficiencies, enhancing existing services, providing non-jail alternatives for defendants. This would have been a little more poignant if I had gotten to the slide right away. Sound familiar yet? And increasing community engagement in local justice systems reform. This will include enhancing services provided to defendants pre-trial, implementing more meaningful first appearance hearings, and improving case processing, and partnering with residents to identify and implement community-led programs. Sound familiar? And policy interventions. For example, an analysis of data from January 2020 to December 2022 indicated pretrial release and length of stay are main drivers of jail population. The average pretrial jail population alone was 68% of the total average daily population. Because the whole idea is to get these people off the fucking streets. Despite making up approximately 47% of the local population, African Americans and Hispanics make up 82% of the jail population. I think we all know what that means. So you guys seeing what's being put together here. So that's the report, the good report. Very interesting report from Eric Doherty. The mayor then makes a statement. Let's see what she says. I bet you it's pretty good. I bet you it's pretty reasonable. Let's see what this mayor says. Woke Charlotte mayor. Oh no. Oh, hamburgers. Woke Charlotte mayor says city, quote, can't arrest our way out of issues. Seems like you can. Pretty sure you can. Yeah, I think I just checked. Seems like you can.
Average homicide suspect has been arrested 11 times prior to them committing a homicide.
Seems like you can. This is the mayor. We will never arrest our way out of issues such as homelessness and mental health. Well, the problem is that you close all the mental health clinics, and now you're saying, well, we can't put them in prison. Well, you shut down the alternatives, but whatever. A mental health disease is just that, a disease. Yeah, but they're also fucking violent. You can't just put violent, unpredictable people next to fucking normal, functioning members of society, because then you get fucking this. A disease like any other that needs to be treated with the same compassion, diligence, and commitment as cancer or heart disease. So this is a small one, but if you want to get pissed off a little bit. So the same day that this girl died, Charlotte City Council safety meeting after Iryna Zarutska's murder. They posted this picture. It's them having fun. This is the city council safety meeting, just having fun. A little birthday celebration while their greatest resource, pretty young white women, are being murdered. It's America's greatest resource, pretty young white women. If there's a resource we should be protecting, it's pretty young white women. So a GoFundMe, obviously, gets set up for this fucking savage, but thank God GoFundMe shut it down, because obviously there is a race debate going on about this. The majority of people honestly, the majority of guys from the hood don't even know this happened. They're still debating whether or not Young Thug is a rat. So there's that. And I think most normal black people are like, yeah, this guy's a fucking savage. There's no way anyone should. It's completely insane to start a GoFundMe for him. And then there's like a handful of sissified black people that got indoctrinated by white women with colorful hair that don't smell the greatest and have some sort of metal protruding out of their nose cavities. Now, this one has been changed. This is the Wikipedia page for the killing of Iryna Zarutska. This has been changed, but luckily I took my own little backup of this, because initially when this article was posted on Wikipedia, it was flagged for deletion. And if you remember, mainstream media were not talking about this, which is it Streisand affected the story. CNN, NBC, MS Now. So we're not talking about this at all. We're trying to avoid this thing like the plague. And then in lockstep with them came Wikipedia, who nominated this article for deletion. An editor has nominated this article for deletion. You're welcome to participate in the deletion discussion, which will decide whether or not to retain it. Again, thankfully, it has been reinstated, but it was scheduled to be deleted. This person votes to delete it, saying, unless significant notable coverage is derived outside of generic run-of-the-mill crime content. This is a Wikipedia, I don't know what SBST stands for at the moment, despite efforts to astroturf it. So he's saying, if you read between the lines, because mainstream media refuses to talk about it because they don't want to have to broach the topic of the racial component that's been pretty widely talked about over the past few months, because they're too scared to do that and they don't want to touch this topic. Now Wikipedia is like, well, that means this isn't a real story because CNN and MS Now aren't covering it. This user says, delete it. There is zero indication that this specific article is anywhere near gaining the requirement for a Wikipedia N event. I don't know what that N stands for. Let you guys decide. There are some people in social media and other venues who are trying to make this into something far greater than it really merits. Oh, just the most talked about thing on social media. Nothing is remarkable about this. I don't know about that. Even the premise of the immigrant status nor race of either person seems to have any indication for a hate crime even. We'll get to that in a second. From here, this happened, was this Monday night or Sunday night? Sunday night, as Trump was either getting off of a plane. I think he was getting off of a plane. He was asked about it, so this is his response.
Do you have any reaction to it?
Yeah, where was the subway was where?
She was in Charlotte on a light train. She was stabbed multiple times by a...
Horrible. No, I haven't heard.
Okay.
When did this happen?
It happened in August, but the video just came out.
I see, yeah. I see the video. I'll know all about it by tomorrow morning.
So briefly touched on it, but said, I'll look into it. Yesterday, finally, one mainstream media publication finally actually posted about it. The BBC said fatal stabbing of Ukrainian refugee in North Carolina ignites crime debate. So their angle on it is the debate on crime. It's not even like, yo, this guy's fucking out of his, we need to get these savages off the street. No. It's, people are conflicted as to whether or not we want violent criminals on the street. We think they can be nice sometimes, so we should keep them. And then I feel like this is like a coordinated attack. Let's try and character assassinate this person by pointing out that she has a Black Lives Matter poster in her room. This is not Zarutska's bedroom. looking at photos of her actual bedroom / doorpost on Instagram / Facebook account, it's clear that this is a completely different room. So character assassination, fucking dirty. Now, finally, mainstream media is forced to mention the story. The unprovoked murder of Ukrainian woman on Charlotte's light rail system is causing outrage nationwide. NBC, same thing. They finally posted an article about it also yesterday at 11 p.m. So that's how you know they care. They posted it at 11 p.m. when most people aren't going to see it. So now, finally, as of today, it's like yesterday they did the articles, unavoidable. And this thing has only snowballed. I think today has been like the peak of interest in this story. You know, that means it's unavoidable on their news broadcast to cover this now. So now they have to cover it. I wonder how they're going to cover it. I wonder what their thoughts and opinions are going to be on this tragic fucking event.
Gained national news attention here in the past couple of days. Why is that?
Right, most murders in the U.S. never become national news. This one's garnered attention for a couple of reasons. Number one, first and foremost, the recent release of that gruesome video. Second, the energy from pro-Trump activists. They picked up on this video from local news.
So immediately just shifting the blame to pro-Trump activists, that is not a fair characterization of who's angry about this. It's fucking white people that are tired of being murdered, and it's black people that are tired of being lumped in with a small subsect of psychopaths that are part of their community that's not being addressed.
And ran with it. It's a little bit like the times when civil rights groups have raised attention about police-involved shootings.
Oh, okay. What's really important is black people being killed by the police. Not the time, brother, because I think right now, a lot of people are calling for more fucking police.
Succeeded in making this senseless death a symbol of big city crime. We heard President Trump asked about it yesterday.
No, ignoring big city crime has made this a symbol of fucking big city crime. You bald-headed, well, I'm not going to say a gay slur, but you know what I mean.
And it's being used, as you said, Brianna, as a political symbol, with MAGA media calling for more forceful punishments and more incarceration. I have to say, some of the replies to Musk, some of the comments around this story are baldly racist.
Okay.
Stoking fear of
That's a word I wouldn't use if I was him, just saying.
African Americans because this man attacked a white woman. The open racism on sites like X today, it's eye-popping.
That narrative is just not going to work anymore. I don't think people are scared of being called racist anymore. That's fucking done. So that's how CNN addressed it there. I played it for you before. It was a little quiet. I could run it back though. He says, "I got that white girl." So it's hard to hear, but he does say it because he's schizophrenic. And I mean, also there's the component that like black people have been taught that white people are like evil and we're trying to kill them. I mean, that is like a very strong component of it as well. Well, speaking of the man, let's see what Trump has to say on the situation.
Have been forced to put up with Democrat-run cities that set loose savage, bloodthirsty criminals to prey on innocent people. Really very, very innocent people. They control radical left judges, politicians, and activists, and they've adopted a policy of catch and release for thugs and killers. In Charlotte, North Carolina, we saw the results of these policies when a 23-year-old woman who came here from Ukraine met her bloody end on a public train. And here's a picture of it. This is the picture of it. And this is a picture of the woman, a beautiful young girl that never had problems in life, with a magnificent future in this country.
Hell yeah, brother.
And now she's dead.
Absolutely.
She was slaughtered by a deranged monster.
Great way to put it.
Roaming free after 14 prior arrests.
Crazy.
We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country.
Couldn't agree more.
We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious.
I like that.
Like they are.
I like this.
It's the only thing they understand.
He's getting me hype, bro.
4 of the top 25 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrat mayors.
Who would have thunk it?
50 people were murdered in Chicago in recent weeks.
What the
Hundreds being shot. It's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order. We have proven that it can be done because we did it right here in D.C., in District of Columbia. The capital of America was a bloodthirsty, horrible, dangerous place, one of the worst. And now it's a crime-free city, and we're going to keep it that way. It can be done. It can happen fast. All we want is, please, Mr. President, we need help. Chicago needs help. Other cities needs help. We'll do what has to be done because we're going to make America safe again.
Hell yeah.
That includes our big cities. We're going to make those cities safe.